All right, GM. Good morning, my friends. We're back with another video, the Cat Dad series. We've been covering a ton of material, and today I'm going to talk about something that's a bit ambiguous in the MoonCat world. There's not many of these things that exist, but I am a big believer that this is probably the most undervalued trait in the MoonCat world. And obviously, disclaimer, I own a handful of these. So I guess you could say I'm pumping my own bags, but aren't most of us just doing that at the end of the day? Because this is my thesis behind a lot of my buys. And if you haven't guessed it yet, here we are. Named Mooncats. Mr. Moo, the first ever named MoonCat and potentially the first ever named NFT outside of a domain service. And I'm going to define this right now. There's a difference between naming an NFT and a domain. A domain, the quote unquote name is registered and you have to renew it every year or whatever the parameters are. And also the text is embedded into the NFT and then minted. Whereas with MoonCats, the NFT, which is the MoonCat, is minted and created, and then the name is embedded afterwards as a user customization feature. So I bought Mr. Moo off of ponderware back, man, it feels like forever ago, 3 months ago. So first ever named NFT from 2017, Mr. Moo named. Now for a long time, excuse me, for a long time, people thought that named cats actually didn't have as much of as premium as unnamed cats. I had the complete opposite thesis, and I could be completely wrong on this, but there are a handful of reasons that I'm going to go after. One of them being that there aren't that many named MoonCats to begin with. There's, I'll show on one of the next tabs before going through this. As you could see, there's really not that many. There was a lot of naming that happened in 2017, as you could see, as people were experimenting with MoonCats. Some of them have very unfortunate names, and some of them have awesome names that are hilarious. Most of them on the playful and joyful side. So as we see, 2017 ends right here. Chad, what is it? 3365. Yeah, so Chad, unironically, Chad the zombie 2017 named MoonCat is the last named 2017 cat. And then as we go down here, I believe 50, what are we at? Somewhere around here is like the end of the 2018. And then we have 2019 and right about here, Blue Cat, I think. 57. Yeah, I believe Blue Cat's last 2019 named one. And then this is the start of 2021. There's no named 2020 cats because there's only 3. And so as you see, then people experimented, but obviously there's a boatload of 2017. And in my opinion, adding a named cat, there's a handful of reasons. Well, first, it adds historical value because these cats were named 4 years ago, right? So you're experimenting with the first generative art project, and you're also naming things that can be iconic and can easily be identified, right? If you have a name, imagine humans walking around the planet without names and you had to identify them by their features. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Obviously, you'd have black, white, religion, Asian, like your ethnicity. Maybe you have to identify by the culture or maybe your ideologies, I guess. So it's easy to identify character cats, right? You identify them by their specific hue and their pattern. And but there's a handful of them. With character cats, there's like 300 of each one. Whereas named Mr. Moo, one cat, easy to name, easy to identify. Melancholia, which is, whose cat is this? Soy's cat. Nick Szabo, obviously an iconic person. You got the Trump cat, the Clinton cat. Obviously, you could tell what was happening back then. This was in 2017 during the election cycle. I think these 2 cats are actually going to be worth a lot in the future. Same with Vitalik. There's a handful of Vitalik cats on Meowsk. The first named Genesis cat, I think, to me, would be the most valuable Genesis cat outside of the first one, which is number 84, which I believe Beautiful Data owns currently at the time of this recording. There's also a different thing with Genesis between pures and non-pures, but if you're just going off the basis of years, you would assume that the sub 100 ones are worth more. And so it just continues to go on. Satoshi, this one's probably really valuable. These ones, because they're sub 100, in my opinion. And if you could collect the Trump and the Clinton one, man, that's a combo deal. That's probably something that'll be at an auction if you had both of them. People who like to chase after political historical artifacts. So there's some alpha for you. And as we go down and down, like I'm saying, it's easy to identify. And now as we go over here, Beautiful Data made this. You can see when these cats were named. So I'm very, very bullish on cats that were named in 2017. And this is different from 2017 named cats because you can go back and you could name your cat at any point in time. But if it was named in 2017, those are people out on the frontier and it builds scarcity, right? So if we go down and we're looking, these would be day 3 named cats and day 4, day 5. So we're going to find where's the end of 2017. We're coming down. So here we go. Where are we? So, yep, there's Chad. I was right. 267 named cats. Like, that's less than premium, or that's less than character cats supply. And you have a unique identifier to each cat as well. I don't know how that would be less of a premium when you're able to introduce scarcity and a signifier or an identifier. And so with 2018, as we go down, we were at 267. Then we go down to, let's see, what number was this? Berry Cat. Yep. So you got about 80 or so 2018 cats. And then we got 3 2019 ones. So those would probably be the most valuable ones in 2019. Maybe I'd have to look at them. And then you go down. And so we're at 337 all the way down to 786. So you got about 400 and something 2021 named cats. And so those ones aren't as valuable in my opinion, obviously to each their own, but just doing things like if we're following the mint date and that's the largest premium in MoonCats, why wouldn't something that was introduced 4 years ago as well on top of that as leverage have more value? I don't know. And so this is how the naming feature works. So this was actually Mr. Moo, as you could see 1,560 days ago. I just went ahead and clicked on this. The Ether price at the time, $300. Gwei, wow, wouldn't this have been nice? 20 Gwei at the time of the naming. So you could go and see in Etherscan, this is how you named a cat back then. View source, I don't know what this means. I'm just doing this with you guys at the time. I don't know. Is this the original rescue? Somebody's trying to, I don't know what's going on here. Sorry, guys. But we're also just exploring. So as you can see, the cat name, and then there's a bunch of numbers. Yeah. So where does it have? Etherminer, is that how much was in the burn contract? I don't know, but this is like the process to name a cat. And so as we see, I already went ahead and I did the sub 1,000 cats because as we saw in 2017, there's a lot. So big dick cat, obviously not PC. And it seems like some of the non-PC cats, there's big dick cat and then there's a Jews did 9/11. Those ones have been selling at a massive discount as people become very annoyed with it. And as a Jewish person myself, Jews did 9/11. I find pretty comical, not really offensive, but to each their own again. So again, people are selling the named cats pretty cheap. So I'm out on my own here. Maybe we need some narratives to form around it, which probably will in the future. Yeah, so you can see some of the premiums down here are the ones that are without names. So as some would say, severely undervalued. I should just sweep this entire floor. just to prove a point. Ponderware introduced autographs, which we talked about in the Twitter spaces with Ponderware last week. Autographs are pretty much naming the wrapped cat. So as we see here, all these cats are wrapped. So in order to name it, like you saw on Etherscan, you have to unwrap the cat, which costs gas, and then you have to go through Etherscan and then find the naming component to it, which I don't have it open here. And then you have to name it, and then you have to wrap it again. And so the name displaces the unique ID identifier, which, as we know, this string of numbers and letters are the MoonCat's DNA, which represents the way that it faces, the coat of the cat, the expression, and the pattern on it as well. So you could just name it and let that ugly little string go away and have your own little kitty. So they're introducing autographs, and this is in the short range scanners. So this should probably come out here pretty soon. And you could have your named wrapped MoonCat, which makes it probably much easier to go. And before we continue on, I just want to let you guys know, we know metaverse is a big trend. Meta is now a thing, which used to be known as the Facebook Meta. They're moving into the metaverse as anyone else. Decentraland. Something I see happening, and obviously right now with the profile picture era, that's a very Web 2.0 kind of narrative. In the future with Web 3.0, I see named MoonCats having a massive premium because you're going to have the ability for your cat to follow you around or hang out in your house or be on your shoulder or use in games. And those that have names are going to be identified by not just the MoonCat community, but the broader metaverse community, right? Mr. Moo, as I'm going to be continually branding him, is probably going to be like the most popular pet in the metaverse. It's going to be the oldest named cat. It's the first cat NFT. It's the first animal NFT, maybe. What do you have? Curio cards before that, or CryptoPunks, Curio cards, Pixel Map, Ethereum, and then you go back to Bitcoin, and it's all just like SOG and Rare Pepes, and then you have Twitter eggs. So yeah, you could say it's literally the first named pet. And so what kind of value will that hold in the future? And also, let me leave you this. When I was at NFT NYC, there was a lot of talk about turning your cat or how to describe it, building narratives around your cat and bringing your NFTs to life. So a lot of projects are now building movies and TV shows and writing books and basically just mortalizing the cat and bringing them to life. And again, if a cat has a name, imagine if there's like a MoonCat movies, right? And very family friendly. It's a cartoon or a feature film of an hour and a half. There's 300 Cheshires, so they're just going to call the Cheshire Cats Cheshire Cats. But Mr. Moo has a name, and so you could identify it. And that's what's going to stick to the normies and the mainstream people, a name, right? That's why we know Trump. We know the Trump name. He obviously has a hair. Clinton, we know the Clintons. Mark Cuban and all these other names. Sorry to be political if people become really tense around politics. Names, the biggest trait that you can possess in reality. I don't know why that wouldn't translate here into the metaverse as we all kind of build our own names, right? In the metaverse, in crypto, in the crypto world, we immortalize ourselves, right? My name's Jake Gallen, but I go by Cat Dad. So we build these new names because we want to have it in this new world. But with cats specifically, we love our pets in the real world. And the only reason we get rid of our pets is because of their unfortunate death. But in the real world, humans tend to change their appearance every day. We change our clothes, our hair, we put glasses on, all these different things. And so that's why I'm not as bullish on PFPs, because once metaverse takes hold, if we have a pet, you're probably going to keep it forever. And especially if your cat has a name and other people are aware of who that cat is, and maybe they want to own it with all of the other IP that's attached to it and market it to all the way around this metaverse. So bullish AF on the named cats, guys. I'll buy all of them if I have to, or as many as I can. I'm not super rich or anything like that. Which one do you guys like the best? I'm curious. Look, this one's even a Cardano bull, which is the 2017 Cheshire cat, just like Mr. Pink. Ooh, that's probably the best one. So that's the question I leave for you guys. Which cat is your favorite, or which named cat is your favorite? Do you like named cats? Have I swayed your opinion at all? Are you still down for the unnamed cat so that you can eventually name it? Right. That's why people like the premium. It's unnamed so that you have the option to name it. But the ones that have been named a long time ago, I'm bullish on because it adds to the historical value, just multiple layers of historical value stacked on each other. So you don't even need the utility for that. Bullish on the named cats, guys. I think it's still the most undervalued trait in the MoonCat universe. And as Coinbase and all these other things are introduced over the future, cats are only going to become more scarce, and people are going to find different rarity metrics to understand how these cats are valuable. So this is Cat Dad at the end of the day. Bullish on Mr. Moo, bullish on the named cats, and we'll see you around. Thanks for watching.